Yo, it's your boy JTG, aka the flyest man in sports entertainment. And you are about to watch my career interview, my shoot interview on the Hannibal TV. Chill!
Alright, so I'm just going to get right into it. Were you always a fan of pro wrestling growing up?
Yes, both my parents were big fans of wrestling. They both used to go to Madison Square Garden together, so it was only fitting that I grew up watching it. I knew since the age of 2 that I wanted to be a professional wrestler.
When you started training in wrestling, I heard that you went right into OVW. What made you join the development territory right away?
After high school, I went to, I didn't jump right into OVW first. I went to Charlotte and I trained with a trainer called, his name was Gene Ligon. He had some experience in WCW and on the indie circuit. I was trained with him for about 6 months, and then I got wind of OVW through, what was the NXT, not an NXT guy, I'm sorry. What was the name of that show on MTV?
Oh, Tough Enough.
Tough Enough, yeah. He was telling me that he was going down to OVW. He said that was the place to be. And then I remember going to, was it Survivor Series, and I spoke to Rico. And he said he trained in OVW. To me, that was a sign. So I went to OVW right away after getting those 2 signs. I think there was a 3rd one, but I can't remember right now.
What was the travel like commuting from New York to Louisville when you started doing it?
Oh, it was crazy. At first, my job didn't allow me to do it because at first I was working at the movie theater. And training was on a weekend, and that's when movies come out, Friday, Saturday. Those were the biggest days. So they said we can't let you off on the weekend because that's favoritism. Everybody wants to be off on the weekend. I'm like, I'm pursuing this. If I can't, you know, this is my priority. So if you don't allow me, I'm just gonna have to quit. He was like, all right, we'll support you, and they allowed me to leave and keep my job.
So back then, it's not like now where it's only developmental contracted wrestlers in the development system. There was also wrestlers who were paying to train in the development system.
Yeah.
How did that process start? Did you jump right in with the development guys that were in the contract, or was there something before?
No, it was definitely a process. I went through every stage possible. I started from the very bottom. There was an OVW, they had beginners class. They called that the amateur class. Then they had the intermediate class, and then they had the TV class. They call that the contract class. And for me, you know, I had no connections or no insides. You know, I didn't have anybody related to me that was in the company, so I had to start from the very bottom. And I worked my way through the beginners class, the amateur class, intermediate class, and then I finally got to the contract class where I was able to train with WWE developmentals, and that's where you wanted to be.
Who was the trainer in the beginners class then?
There was various trainers in the beginners class. I remember Mike Mondo from the Spirit Squad. Mikey, he was one of my trainers at first, and then eventually it was Rip Rogers, who was a great trainer. He influenced me a lot, gave me a lot of confidence in the ring, helped with promos, and also taught backstage etiquette, which is very important in making it in this business, which I talked about in my book, Damn Why I Write This Book Too, How to Play the Game.
Yeah, we're going to talk about where people can get that. We actually have 2 books now, so...
2, yeah.
You want to tell us the names of them now, just for people that might not, by some chance, watch till the end of this video?
Okay, so the name of the first book is called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book? Which was the play off a tweet that I did when I got released, which got thousands of retweets and favorites. That book is primarily, I'm talking about heat, which a lot of people don't really talk about or know about. And heat is something like a black cloud that follows a professional wrestler throughout their career when they get into an altercation with another professional wrestler or with The Office. And it's kind of like cooties for grown-ass men. And then the second book is called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book Too? And that's about how to play the game and politicking and how to advance your way to the top.
If you're a professional wrestler.
If you're a professional wrestler.
That'd be very important to know.
Well, you could use it in Hollywood, you could use it in a lot of industries.
Yeah, that probably would have benefited me had I read that a long time ago. So was Jim Cornette around in OVW when you were there?
Jim Cornette was there for majority of the time that I was there, and then he had that incident with Santino. That I don't know if you heard about that incident that he had with Santino, where Santino was supposed to. Boogeyman was down in OVW, and there was an incident on TV where Santino laughed at the Boogeyman. at the time Santino was still green to the business, was still new, and he didn't know that he was supposed to play to Boogeyman's character. And Jim Cornette was furious, he was pissed, and they had an incident backstage which led to Jim Cornette being banned from OVW.
Is it true that he actually yelled at Santino in front of everyone and actually slapped him in front of everybody?
I don't know if it was in front of everybody because I wasn't there, but I definitely know that he slapped him and yelled at him.
Speaking of heat, did Santino have any heat after that because of the people that may have liked Jim Cornette and been on Jim Cornette's
I don't think he had any heat personally. I think he was very uncomfortable, but he handled it very well, and look where it got him today.
He ended up getting a contract out of that.
Yeah.
So did you have any dealings with Jim Cornette directly?
Directly, no. I do know that he was about to start using me because I was there for a lot. He started getting used to my face, and he knew who I was. And then after that incident, it's like I had to start from the bottom, again.
Was Al Snow around at that time?
Yes, Al Snow had a lot of me, a huge part of me being called up to Raw. We were my second time on OVW television in Kentucky. I won the Southern Tag Team titles with Shad, and then he knew that I was hungry. He saw that I was there every week, so he gave me an opportunity. Him and Danny Davis, and he put a good word in for me, you know, because before they hire, they say, how was this kid? How was his mentality? How was his training? How was his mindset? He put a good word in for me, so I thank Al Snow a lot for that.
And I understand Paul Heyman was also working in OVW at that time.
Yes, he was. He gave me the name Neighborhoody when I was down in OVW. He's the one, I think it was his idea to put Shad and I together, because Shad had just finished running a program with CM Punk for the title, and they didn't know what to do with Shad after that. And Heyman decided to put Shad and the Neighborhoody together, and that birthed Crime Time.
What was that like working with Heyman, because he had just come off ECW and was quite a figure? Like,
oh, he was great to work with. He was very laid back. He was cool. He was a straight shooter. Told it like it is, and his ideas were great. He was an evil genius.
And you mentioned CM Punk. Did you have much contact with CM Punk in those days?
Oh yeah, I trained with CM Punk. I worked CM Punk singles when I was in OVW. Yeah, we set up rings together. Yeah, I had a lot of interaction with CM Punk.
What did you think of him as a person?
I didn't know him personally, but professionally he was great. You know, of course he was great on the mic. He was great in the ring. I learned a lot watching him, and he was cool.
And what do you think about his switch over to MMA and his recent UFC performance?
I was really rooting for him, man. I was really rooting for him. I hope he could redeem himself with one more fight. You got guys like Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley does MMA. I mean, sometimes it's just not your day.
And you bring up Bobby Lashley. Would he have been around OVW when you were there?
Yeah, I trained with Bobby Lashley, set up rings with him, worked out with him. Me and Bobby Lashley still keep in contact. He's a great dude.
Have you been following his MMA career as well?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. And was Cody Rhodes around OVW at that time?
Same thing. Trained with him, wrestled with him, set up rings with him, rode on the road with him during OVW independent shows. Yeah.
What do you think about his idea of quitting WWE right in the middle of his contract? I guess there was still some time left.
I think that was a good move on his part. You know, if you don't feel like you're being used, follow your intuition, follow your heart. His heart wasn't in it, so I definitely am a big believer in following your passion. And he was passionate about that, especially after that was when his pops just died, so he wanted to make a name for himself.
Do you agree with him that he really hadn't been given too many opportunities in the time that he had worked for WWE?
I don't know if I could co-sign that. I think he's been given a lot of opportunities. He's had a lot of characters and different heel changes and babyface changes. Yeah, I think he had a lot of opportunity. So
it was Paul Heyman that ended up putting you with your partner in the end. What were your first impressions of him when you met Shad?
I remember the first time I met him, I was introduced to him by Elijah Burke, the Pope. And the first time I met him, I was like, oh, this guy's a character. I definitely thought Shad was a character. But we developed a friendship before we were even in a tag team. You know, Shad, he has done so much for me outside the ring. He gave me my first apartment. He gave me his license when I wasn't even 21 yet. So I was going into bars. I was what, 18, 19, using his ID, no one questioned it. He was very well known in the club scene because he did a lot of security, so they knew that was his like little, they said I was his little brother. And
you mentioned he was in security. He also had a bit of MMA background, but supposedly he fights against possibly underground.
Nah, I don't know.
Okay. And I also read that he was disqualified from Tough Enough 2 for some reason. Do you have any idea?
Oh yeah, he did tell me about it. He was disqualified. I think the doctor made a mistake on one of his blood tests. They made a mistake, and then once they corrected it, it was already too late. So he was like, well, he didn't stop him. And that was a blessing in disguise. Everything happened for a reason.
What about the Crime Time vignettes that you did in OVW? Those are pretty memorable. What were your thoughts on those? And did you have much say in putting those?
Oh, that was all Shad and I. That was all our creativity. We shot those ourselves. We got a camera, we got a crew, and we just had fun. And because it was so good, WWE didn't want to change it. They just wanted to use better equipment, and we did the same exact things with better equipment, with WWE quality.
And one girl that was in one of those vignettes was Shanae, who worked for our company, Great North Wrestling, quite a bit in the past. I guess she was non-contract in OVW at that time. Do you remember her?
Shanae.
Yeah.
No, I do not. If I see her face, I probably definitely would.
She was in one of your apartment, I think the one in your apartment or something.
Okay, I gotta see her face.
So what ultimately led you guys getting called up?
It was those videos. It was those vignettes that we did, because not only was it the video that it was the content that it was funny, is that we took the initiative to do it on our own. Al Snow said we were winning. We were the Southern Tag Team Champions. We were winning, and they were like, you don't always have to win a match or have matches to get over. You know, do something outside of the ring. And we came up with some cool concepts, and we had fun with it. And then Vince wound up seeing those vignettes and hired me. Shad was already under contract, and I was able to get a contract off of that. So I was in OVW for about 3.5 years with just with no contract, no developmental contract. I was working at the Gold's Gym and balancing, working, going to the gym, and going to practice.
Who were the talent relations people you were dealing with at that time?
At the time, John Laurinaitis was the man. He was the man who had to say over your career.
What did you think of him?
He came across very intimidating, but once you get to know him, he was very cool. But he's got a good head for this business. He sees potential.
And you mentioned Vince was a fan of your vignettes. What were your first impressions of Vince when you finally met him?
When I finally met Vince, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous for some reason, but he made some promises. He was very excited to see us, and he was glad to have us on the roster. I remember that I could see that it was very authentic, that he was happy to have us on the roster, because he saw the vignettes and he saw some of our dark matches, and he was very impressed with them.
And who came up with the Crime Time name?
The Crime Time name, we all sat in a room and was going through different names because of trademark issues. We had to make sure that it wasn't taken already, so we were just going through, coming up with names, going through the computer, trademark, oh, taken, we can't use that. It was one, I'm so glad that it didn't come through. One of the writers, one of the head writers at the time of Raw, he wanted to call us Hoodie Nation, and we were gonna have our own flag. And I was like, oh, please let that be, let that be taken. I don't want to, that's a horrible name. And it was taken, so, and then all of a sudden someone said Crime Time. And then we looked at each other, and it was Crime Time, Crime Time, Crime Time? Can we spell it? How is it spelled? Crime Time, the original way was taken. Then we spelled it with a Y. He's like, it's good, I like it. We all liked it, and then Crime Time it was.
Your name, JTG, I guess you still own that. How is that possible?
I don't know how I got away with that. When I saw it in my contract, I always remember that, and I was like, I didn't say anything. I just kept it in the back of my head. And then when I did get released, we all got an email, all the talent that got released, and said to please change your Twitter handles if your stage name is in your. And I just wrote back, I was like, well, in my contract, I own JTG. And then I got like a response like, oh, yes, you do. Okay, you're fine. I was like, yeah, that's right.
And for people that don't know, what does JTG stand for?
Well, JTG, when I was in OVW, it stood for Just Too Good. When I used to do my promos with Rip Rogers, I would always just say I was just too good at the end and sometime during the promo. So Just Too Good was my name in OVW. But when I got to WWE, because I didn't want to get heat, I didn't want to sound overconfident, I eventually changed to just that gangster.
And you talk about heat. You would have been one of the younger wrestlers for sure at the time when you debuted in WWE.
Yeah.
Did you have any heat on you just for being young when you first came in?
Oh, definitely. When I came on the scene, I was 21, and then we got over immediately with the WWE universe, and we got a lot of heat for that because guys who were there for years, you know, was having issues, were having a hard time getting over, and then Shad and I come in there 2-3 weeks in, the crowd is we're blowing the roof off arenas when they hear yo, 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 and we're young, and you know, that did ruffle a few feathers.
What are some ways, I know it's in your book, but like, that you can get heat, just like a couple ways maybe, because it's very hard for someone to understand that's not in the wrestling business. If you're fresh going into that, the jealousy is so huge, and it's such a backstabbing industry.
Yeah, it's such a backstabbing industry. You could get heat for walking in the arena with shades on. That's one. You get heat for not shaking somebody's hand. You got to shake everybody's hand when you walk into that arena. I've shaken people's hands twice or 3 times because I forgot. There's so many people backstage that you forget who hands you shook. So I just want to make sure that
And that's every night, 4 to 5 days a week. Shake every single person's hand. In the airport, you also got to shake their hand. Right?
Yep. You get heat in catering if you don't have a shirt on.
What if you're getting your hair braided in the hallway?
If you're getting your hair braided in the hallway, oh yeah, we got heat for that.
Was Brock Lesnar around when you guys first came in?
No, he was not around. But when Brock just got back, I was there, and I remember working out with him, and I believe it was in Washington. He was a very, very cool guy. He gave me a ride back to the arena.
You worked with the Highlanders. What are your memories of that?
I enjoyed working with the Highlanders because we trained with them in OVW, so there was kind of that brotherly love. I wish there was they're a lot longer because they got released not too shortly after we came.
You worked with the world's greatest tag team. What are your memories of that?
My memories of them, they gave us, they helped us tremendously because we worked with them so much. They showed they helped us in and out of the ring. Like a lot of stuff that we weren't privy to, Shad and I, they had to really like get in our ear and get in our ass. Like, you can't do that, don't do that, you shouldn't be doing that, and you know, just basic etiquette.
Backstage stuff or stuff in the ring?
Both.
What are your thoughts on Shelton Benjamin's recent injury? They were about to bring him back to WWE SmackDown, and apparently they found an injury, and he ended up not getting the contract in the end.
Oh man, so that's it?
Maybe once he gets it fixed, they'll give him another shot, but for now...
I hope so. I'd love to see Shelton Benjamin back in the ring. He's a great talent.
You also worked with Jim Duggan and Super Crazy. What were those names?
those guys are fun definitely fun to work with. Hacksaw Jim Duggan got a ton of stories. And traveling with Super Crazy, it made great stories, that's all I gotta say.
And I heard an interview with Shad where he mentioned that Lance Cade was a dick and an asshole.
Yeah.
What exactly was the issue with you guys and Murdoch and Cade?
I guess because it was working with us. I think that they wanted to work with like the Hardy Boys and upper tier tag teams, because I guess we were new, they didn't want to work with us. I didn't think, I guess it would ruin their brand. I don't know, but they didn't enjoy working with us at all. And because of them, that helped. The first time we got released was because of them.
And I guess they were also spreading rumors about you guys backstage, and you guys were dangerous.
Yeah.
And going into that incident when you guys were first released, I guess you were having a match with them and they changed the finish somehow?
Yeah, they changed the finish on us. They got the ref in on it. And you know, coming through OVW, you know, whatever issues we have personally with another superstar, you know, we were taught that you take care of it in the back. You don't ever let it spill outside the ring. So when they did that, that was like kind of like a big slap in the face. It's like, why would you change the finish, do it in front of a live audience, get the ref in on it, and you know, we had to.
In what way did they change the finish?
So we did a thing where I would almost get counted out, and I roll back in at 8, like make it like a close count, and then I rolled in at 8, and then they had the ref do a fast count. So I rolled in at 8, it was like 7, 8, 9, 10, and then even the audience picked up on it. They was like, "What the hell was that?" And they started chanting, "This is bullshit." And then, you know, and they sprinted. They sprinted and left and went towards the back. And the referee was there, and Shad was pissed because he saw like the eye contact and the exchange, the body language between the ref and the tag team. He knew something was up, and Shad was really pissed, and he took it upon himself to embarrass, humiliate the ref because he was still out there. And we hit our finish on the ref. And then Shad took his belt, took the ref's shirt and belt off and auctioned it off to the crowd because we had to get them back up.
Yeah, because that's the gimmick of selling stuff to the crowd.
Yeah. So that was our gimmick. So I guess it kind of, but they didn't like it in the back. We got a lot of heat for that, a lot, which really led to our demise.
Yeah, what happened? I understand Cena actually reprimanded you guys.
Yeah, in front of everybody. Yeah.
How did that work? You just walk in the back and he goes off on you, or?
Actually, our agent, Barry Windham, called Shad. He didn't want to speak to me because it wasn't me that had the problem. So he called Shad to the back. He yelled at him in the locker room. I remember exactly. He's like, "I don't need to speak to you. I need to speak to your partner. You stay out. Stay out of this." He called Shad into the room, yelled at him. Then when Shad got out, finished getting yelled at from Barry Windham, my agent, John Cena let him have it. Well, John Cena let us both have it. And I was like, damn. And then on the way back, John Laurinaitis called us, let us have it. The next day, we got released at Raw.
What was it like getting that treatment from John Cena, who comes across as kind of a way back guy, I guess, if you don't know him?
Yeah, it just threw me off. It was just, that day, it was a horrible weekend. It was a horrible weekend. It definitely threw me off.
I guess you were pretty down then when you found out you were released initially.
Yeah, it made it worse too that I had to drive home after that because I was still living in Kentucky, and I think Louisville was a 3-hour drive. So they said they flew Shad home and said, "Since you're only 3 hours away, you could drive home." I'm like, with this news, I'm like that. So yeah, that was the longest 3-hour drive ever.
Was there any punishment given to Cade Murdoch or the referee for that?
Nope.
Because that wouldn't fly in today's WWE.
Yeah, not at all, but no.
And Barry Windham's no longer in.
No, he's no longer there with the company.
What did you think of him other than that situation?
No, he was cool. I think he was just doing his job. I have no issues with Barry Windham. He's a cool agent.
And I guess you were not employed with WWE for about 6 months before they brought you back. Did you do anything really in that 6 months?
Oh, I lived my life. I had a great time. Shad and I was paid for 3 months because we had the 90 days. And then we got a huge video game check. So I did a lot of vacationing, saw some friends and family I didn't see because I was on the road. And then while I was in Trinidad, that's when, with visiting family, Shad gave me a call and said, we might be going back up. He said, "Come get the train at Booker's. So as soon as you come back to the States, you know, pack, stay in Kentucky for about a day or two, take care of whatever you need, and then come to Houston where he lived. And then we trained at Booker T's for like, I'd say about 3 weeks to a month. And then that's when we got the call back.
Did you know Booker T before that?
Oh yeah, I knew Booker T before that, yeah.
What was it like training with Booker?
He wasn't there. He was only there like once or twice, but we trained with his students.
Okay.
Yeah, we just had to sharpen up our skills.
You actually ended up working with John Cena when you came back. How did that come about?
I have no idea how that came about, but it helped both the tag team and helped John Cena at the time.
Because you guys were still really popular then, and he had the rap gimmick, so they thought, I guess, putting you guys together.
And it was great for both. Yeah.
Was there, you know, now that there's the crowd is always divided with Cena, was there that situation when you guys were teaming with him?
No, that never happened. He was automatically over since he was with us. I don't mean to brag, but it's going how it is.
Did you guys ever talk about the past when you were working together again, or was that kind of water under the bridge?
That was water under the bridge. It was business, and what was it called, CTC? Yeah, that was on our mind at the time.
And were you doing any traveling with him at that time or anything?
No, we didn't do any traveling together, no.
What was he like to work with in general?
He helped us out a lot. He gave us a lot of ideas and little stuff not to do since we were moving up to the next level. You know, we were no longer just a tag team. We're now in main events.
In your opinion, do you think they're ever going to change him heel?
Change him heel?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think they are. I think they're saving it, because that will be the fans will love that.
And what led to the end of the thing with Cena? It was over.
It came out of nowhere. This one week he said we don't need. He said I don't need you this week. I'm like, okay. And just like that it ended.
And when you came back, did you still have heat over what had happened before?
Oh yeah, Chad and I definitely still had heat when we came back, yeah.
Did you still shake Trevor Murdoch's and Lance Kane's hand?
Yeah, we had to.
You had to.
Yeah.
You have to suck it up, I guess.
Yeah, you have to be professional.
I understand once you had a punishment match where you guys had to do a handicap match against Great Khali.
Mm-hmm. That was overseas. That sucked.
What was he like to work with?
Sometimes it's very hard to understand the Great Khali, so we kept it short and simple. But everything else is cool. He has that one chop over the head that could really be a little stiff. But other than that, he's cool to work with. I worked with him multiple times.
He killed somebody by accident.
He did?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When he was training, it was an accident.
He killed him?
Yeah, this was before he went to WWE.
Oh wow, I did not know that. Yeah. Was it with the chop?
No, I believe it was some type of botched power bomb fight.
God.
It was an accidental
Oh
thing.
gosh. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't know that when I was working with him, because that would definitely been in the back of my head.
Yeah. Because I was in Deep South for a short while, and I had to be pretty much his bumping dummy.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's when I was informed of that story. Well, you also worked with Deuce and Domino. What was that like?
We worked with them once. We also trained with them in OVW. But we worked with that one match with them on SmackDown, and that was a lot of fun. I like working with them, and we also had a great segment afterwards when we stole their car.
Yeah, and you took it to the Briscoe
chop shop. Yeah, that was one of my favorite segments.
What was your relationship like with Gerald Briscoe? I guess he was more of an active agent in those.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
And you also worked with JBL.
Yeah, he was cool to work with once he warmed up to me. At first, I don't know. He wasn't so. He was kind of reserved. He had to observe me first, see where Shad and I was at. But he was cool at the end.
He was known for his hazing. Did you ever witness any of his hazing on younger wrestlers? I guess you guys were pretty legitimate, tough guys, so he didn't want to mess with you guys.
Yeah, he didn't really mess with us that much. No.
Did you witness it with anyone else?
I think he gave Miz a hard time. It's kind of fuzzy, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But
right. What about Hardcore Holly? Have you ever witnessed anything with him? His and people. I know we talked to Rene Dupree, and there was a couple incidents with him and Rene.
Now, I didn't see him talk to Ed. I wasn't there for that. But he was really cool with us. Hardcore Holly pulled us aside and gave us some good advice. Well, he gave me good advice.
I guess Rene probably could have learned from your book about heat too.
Yeah.
In the 2009 Royal Rumble, you were eliminated by The Undertaker. What was it like?
That was an honor to be eliminated by The Undertaker. I was like, all 30 people, all 29 people, I got eliminated by The Undertaker. I could tell my grandkids about that.
Did you have much contact with him backstage?
With Undertaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was around. Yeah, you could ask him anything. He was real cool and laid back.
Why is he so respected backstage? Is it just because he's been around so long?
Been around so long, his professionalism, his experience. He's just he's a great locker room leader.
Being part of the very first WWE draft, why do you think it failed?
The draft?
Yeah.
Because they didn't stick to it. You need to be consistent. If you're gonna have a Raw brand or SmackDown brand, you can't every other week bring SmackDown talent to Raw, and then you can't do that.
I know you don't follow the business too closely these days from what I've heard, but do you think they're doing a better job with it this time around from what
with the Raw and SmackDown split? Yeah, I think they're doing a better job now. Yeah, I follow it a lot on social media. I find out the results, and yeah, they've been really consistent with the split.
And working with John Morrison and R-Truth, what was that like?
I love working with John Morrison. I actually hung out with him not too long ago. We actually went to Raw, and we were in a suite and we watched Raw. He just has a new movie coming out called Boone the Bounty Hunter. You've seen him on Raw. He's big into the parkour, so he does a lot of his own stunts. I love working with Morrison. Did some comedy stuff with him. R-Truth was cool to work with. He's cool and laid back. Has a lot of experience you could also pick his brain about.
I heard WWE gave one of your gimmick ideas to R-Truth. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I had pitched the idea to Vince about an imaginary character that eventually evolved into a Muppet, and he loved the idea. And then I don't want to give away too much, but it's in the book, my first book, and it kind of like fizzled out. And then all of a sudden, I saw R-Truth with the character.
And one more thing on John Morrison, he's in Lucha Underground. Have you ever considered going to Lucha Underground?
I've definitely considered it. I don't know if I go back and forth though on the idea.
Slam Master Jay, what did you think of being involved with him?
We had some funny segments working with him. Yeah, I was kind of hesitant at first working with him, but as we started working with him much more, I was like, this could go somewhere.
How did you guys get along with Stephanie McMahon?
Oh, Stephanie loved Crime Time. Vince loved Crime Time. Stephanie loved Crime Time. I enjoyed working with Stephanie because she was very hands-on with some of our backstage segments.
I've heard you've been quoted as saying that Triple H is more difficult to talk to backstage than Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to us?
What I mean by that is, like, Vince always has his door open. If you have an idea, a suggestion, if you want to talk to him about something, you know, his door is always open. Or if he's busy, you know, he'll say, just come back later. With Hunter, it feels like, from my own experience, like he was avoiding me.
I heard you tell a story, it's pretty funny, about Triple H commenting Shad on his suit, complimenting him, and
yeah.
Shad gave a pretty funny response.
Yeah. I think he was nervous, he didn't know what to say, and his filter, it wasn't working that day.
Why do you think the split happened so fast with you guys and there was kind of no real reason given behind it and the feud ended quickly?
Because I think at the time the tag team division was kind of dwindling. There was nobody else for us to work, and I think we both wanted it. We both wanted to see where we could go as individuals.
How many matches exactly did you guys have after the split?
I think we only had 2 matches against each other, and that was it.
Was there ever any consideration prior to the split of you guys getting the tag team titles?
Yeah, on a few occasions. I think we were supposed to get the titles, and because of heat and politics, we never got it.
And they sent Shad back to FCW. I guess that's kind of in some ways considered a demotion.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that? Because that
it definitely had to be heat. Definitely.
I guess, what were your goals after the split?
My goal was definitely to get a singles title. You know, I always had my eye on the Intercontinental title. But after the split, you know, I had a difficulty trying to get that singles character. I was still trying to find my balance.
How important are politics in professional wrestling behind the scenes?
I think it's about 60 or 70% of your career. You know, talent. If you're all right in the ring, but if you're a great politician backstage, you can get very far.
And why would you say wrestling is such a cutthroat business compared to other sports?
Because it's scripted and it's not based on actual talent. That's why I think it's very cutthroat, because you have to know somebody, or just being somebody's good. What's the word I'm looking for? Good graces, yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories and books and so forth that Mick Foley used to be a bit of a suck up to the writers. Did you ever notice anyone else backstage that used to suck up a lot to
a lot of the writers? No, I know I definitely didn't do it. Maybe I should have.
And there's such a thing as stooges in pro wrestling. Can you explain to the more common fan, I guess, what a stooge is?
So a stooge is, I should have put that in my book, but I'll probably put it in my next one, write that down. A stooge is someone who's pretty much tells on other wrestlers to get themselves over. You know, let's say they're not doing too well, they're trying to get, they have heat, or maybe they want to raise up in the rankings. You know, they tell on other wrestlers, you know, they get in good graces with the office.
Would you like to tell us any examples of stooges that you've witnessed?
Or they have their paid stooges.
We've heard Nova was a stooge from a couple other people.
I believe, I think Brooklyn Brawler was a stooge. I'm not 100% sure, but it was, I think, wasn't it in Bret Hart's book too? That,
I mentioned a few. Speaking of Brooklyn Brawler, I guess you had the first match ever at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was an honor, and that's something that I never thought I would accomplish. But yeah, me and David Otunga was the first match, at the pay-per-view.
Is that the place where you would have considered yourself one of the most over places where you worked when you were doing the tours with WWE?
Brooklyn?
Just because of the crime time gimmick?
Yeah, I think if we definitely go back, if we ever were to go back, it'd have to be at the Barclays Center, blow the roof off.
Do you think you ever will go back?
I don't know.
You're still pretty young.
After those 2 books, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing about the 2 books. I noticed that people said you're worried about getting heat and not getting hired, but it's like you don't have a job. So they might never give you a job anyway. So
exactly.
And you've had numerous different managers in WWE, including some of the divas. Which was your favorite diva to work with as a manager?
Candice Michelle was very cool to work with. Who was we worked with? Kelly.
Yeah.
Candice Michelle, she's very cool because she wanted to be urban so bad, so that made it even more fun.
And what about Alicia Fox?
Oh yeah, that didn't last too long. I think she probably did like 2 or 3 matches with me. Also had Tamina. That didn't last too long. That was on NXT.
What's she like as a person?
Tamina's very cool, laid back, backstage.
Were you a fan of her father at all, bro?
Oh, Jimmy Snuka, definitely. Yeah, I was a big fan of Jimmy Snuka.
And Eve Torres, what did you think of her?
Oh yeah, Eve. Yeah, we worked with Eve. She was very cool to work with also. I almost forgot about that. She was fun to do. We did Word Up with her also.
And you were actually a manager yourself. What did you think of that?
Oh yeah, I didn't enjoy that at all. I was bigger than some of the guys I was managing, so it didn't make sense.
What's the difference between having TV matches and house show matches in WWE?
Well, TV matches, you are very, it's timed. You have to be on cue. You have to watch out for your camera angles. And with house shows, you know, you can have fun. You don't have to worry about camera angles. You don't have to worry about looking for the camera or your referee giving you cues. You just go out there, have fun. Sometimes you even call stuff out there on the fly and just have fun with the audience.
And did you ever have any matches with Dean Ambrose? Yes,
I did work with Dean Ambrose a few times, and we had some good matches. Yeah, we had dark matches. So I enjoyed working with him.
Are you surprised that he's been given the push as much as he has?
I'm definitely surprised. When I first saw him, you know, he wasn't that muscular. He was kind of quiet, laid back, had that more methodical demeanor. I saw potential in him, but I didn't see him ever being WWE champion.
And you, I guess, weren't working for WWE for almost a year, maybe a year before your release.
Yeah.
What was going on in your head during that time when I guess they weren't using you and you had people actually counting down to your release on the internet?
Well, I was home for about a year before they released me. I was thinking about what's next. That's pretty much what I was thinking about. I was trying to do stuff. I was in LA, so I was trying to take advantage of the environment that I was in. And at the back of my head, I love wrestling, but I was kind of like burned out because I was so disappointed every time I pitched the idea, or just get very disappointed. And then after seeing what they did to Zack Ryder, you know, I wanted to take the similar step with what Zack Ryder did, but
your own YouTube show or something.
Yeah, something like that. But it didn't work out for him, so so it was very discouraging.
Still got a job, so now I guess all these years later. But
yeah.
You worked with the Usos a bit too, didn't you?
Yeah, I enjoyed working with the Usos because we're boys outside of the ring. So when we get together for a match, there's no egos. We're just there. We just want to we want everybody in that match to look good.
And I read that Shad was somehow arrested for jaywalking in 2011.
Oh yeah.
How do you get arrested for jaywalking?
That was at the Arnold's, I believe. Shad, he finds himself in very weird, peculiar incidences.
And more recently, he actually stopped an armed robbery.
Yeah.
That got a lot of publicity.
Yeah, that was on my birthday. We had a show in Florida. We stopped at a gas station.
Oh, you were there for that?
Yeah, I was there for that. Yeah. He's like, you want to get something to drink? And I'm like, yeah, just give me a Red Bull, whatever. Not a Red Bull, something to drink. Yeah. And then he comes back outside and he's like beating up this guy. I'm like, what did this guy do? Did he step on Shad's shoe or something like that? Automatically I thought it was Shad's fault, but as I got closer to the altercation, I saw that I saw a gun on the ground. I'm like, oh shoot, what's going on here?
Did you grab the gun or anything?
I kicked the gun away. Like, yo, Shad, what's happening? He tried to rob the store. And I'm like, oh shit. And then I called the police and the police came. And then Shad and I immediately put our hands up like, look, he's the guy who robbed. We didn't want to make sure there was any mistakes.
Did you guys have to come back and testify in the court?
Yeah, we were there for about an hour. No, I don't think we had to go back and do any of that. But I know we were stuck at the gas station for about an hour because he had to do a written report.
Are you surprised at the amount of publicity that got?
I thought it could have got more publicity. I thought so.
I guess maybe if you guys still had your contracts,
yeah, bro.
Maybe you should have gotten your contract back because of that. But, and you worked with Brodus Clay a bit. What did you think of him?
He was cool to work with, but he didn't like his character, and I felt it. Yeah, Brodus Clay wanted to be Brodus Clay. He didn't want to be the Funkadactyl dinosaur or whatever it was. But they wanted him to be the Funkadactyl.
And you worked with William Regal as well. What was that like?
I worked with him at NXT. He was. We called everything in the ring with him. He didn't like calling anything in the back. So that also helped me a lot with being more confident with calling stuff on the fly on TV.
Vladimir Kozlov, I worked with him a few times. He's quite an interesting guy. What did you think of working with him?
I enjoyed working with Vladimir because we were also cool outside the ring and travel buddies. We shared cars together, hotel rooms. I still keep in contact with him. He's doing his thing right now in Hollywood on the silver screen.
Yeah, he's in John Wick 2.
Yeah, staying busy.
Yeah, he's doing great. I know Shad's done a lot of acting. Have you considered it, or have you?
Oh yeah, we're actually shooting something March 24th. I can't talk too much about the character, but yeah, I'm doing my thing also, building my resume.
And I understand you were close behind the scenes with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, he was very cool to work, cool with inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, he just helped you out a lot.
Yeah.
One of his guys that he's been working with on camera lately is Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Are you surprised, like when you were signed, like the body was very important and the look was very important, and now, luckily the belt's off of him now, but basically the company representative was a chubby looking guy. It's changed from when you were.
Yeah, definitely changed, yeah.
What do you think of them bringing Goldberg back and the push and the success that Goldberg's had?
Too much in so little time. You know, I understand that he's a fan favorite, but I guess they're doing it just for WrestleMania. Yeah.
And we just brought up Kevin Owens. I guess they had a match that a lot of fans complained about.
Yeah. For them to do it in a couple of seconds, I feel bad for Kevin Owens.
What about Ryback? Did you have much contact with him?
Oh yeah, trained with him, set up rings with him. I stay in contact with him. I love Ryback, very cool, laid back individual. Me and him will talk about The Secret in catering. Yeah.
Are you surprised that he quit WWE? I guess
I'm not surprised. No, I definitely saw a lot of potential in Ryback. I definitely believed that he should have been actually WWE champion, but again,
You brought up Lucha Underground. Do you think you could ever see yourself in TNA or Ring of Honor?
I definitely could see that potentially happen. You know, we're gonna make sure those numbers are right. Yeah.
See what we could do. What, 32 or 33?
32.
Okay, so you still could have a good 10 years ahead of you.
Yeah, we'll see. See how Hollywood treats me.
Hollywood's a lot easier than
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And what made you write your first book?
What made me write my first book was Friends and Family. I never thought a million years that I would write a book. But I have some great stories, and I could tell a good story, and I have a different style of telling my story. If you read my book, you can tell that I have a very interesting way of telling my story, my writing style, and I just had fun with it. And the wrestling fans are very cutthroat, so they're going to be harsh critics. So that first time, the first book I put out, they loved it. It was considered a cult classic. Like the first week, everybody was recommending the book, and then that inspired me to write the second one.
And both of them have had good feedback from the fans.
Definitely, yeah. That led me to do the audio book. I had some interviews talking about turning the stories into live plays. You know, it was like so many different ideas, but we'll see.
And is there anything else that the future might hold for you other than acting?
Acting. I'm working on a few other projects. Launching an app hopefully by this summer. We get these bugs out the way. Well, yeah, I'm just staying busy, man. Using my imagination and letting it run wild.
And are you married or anything?
No, right now I'm separated.
Do you have a kid?
Yeah, I have a daughter, a beautiful daughter. Yeah, 6-year-old.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So I guess it's been good in a way that you've been home with your daughter.
Yeah, been home. Yeah.
That's good. And where can we follow you for the fans watching this?
You could on Twitter. You can follow me at JTG 1284. Instagram JTG 121084. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. And
finally, is there any message you want to say to your fans? I know you still got a lot of fans out there, judging by how popular your book is.
To all the fans out there who haven't read the book, make sure you get the book. It's on Amazon. It's on Google Play. You can find it on iTunes. The audio book. The audio book, you will love it. It's narrated by myself. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm a great storyteller. You guys will have fun.